You're listening to The Social Workers on WCDB Albany.
And welcome back to The Social Workers on WCDB Albany. My name is Eric Hardiman, and I'm here in the studio with my co-host, Alyssa Lotmore. Welcome back, Alyssa.
Hey, Eric. I'm glad the semester's starting.
Absolutely. It's a new semester, relatively new semester. It's a new year, and we've got a new set of shows for you here on The Social Workers. If you've just tuned in for the first time, The Social Workers is a live radio talk show that Alyssa and I have been co-hosting for 5+ years, yes. I believe, and where we interview folks in the community and even external to the local community about issues related to social work, to poverty, to the community, to any issues of social justice in the community. And so that's our mission, if you will.
Yes, we look at the public as client to try to reach individuals who might never have considered seeing or using a social worker, and also spreading the word about who we are and what we do is our profession. And
we also try to dig deep into what's going on here at the University at Albany. And today is an example of that. We have with us live in the studio Dean Lynn Warner. Lynn Warner is professor and dean of the School of Social Welfare here at the University at Albany. Although she just completed her first year as dean at the school, she's been on the faculty at the School of Social Welfare for over 10 years. During that time, she has taught in the MSW and PhD programs and collaborated with faculty and staff in many administrative roles, including as director of the MSW program and associate dean for research. Her own research focuses on the disparities in the delivery of mental and behavioral health services, especially disparities experienced by groups who are vulnerable because of low income status or age, and who are racial or ethnic minorities. She has published more than 60 peer-reviewed journal articles and book chapters, and her research has been supported by more than $1 million in national foundation and federal government grants. Currently, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is supporting her current project to use Medicaid data merged with mortality data from 20 states around the U.S. to identify suicide risk profiles among youth. She is also funded by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Interdisciplinary Research Leaders Initiative for a study of how behavioral health service providers in rural New York are adapting to significant changes in the way Medicaid managed care reimburses for services. Dean Warner is proud to be a first-generation college graduate who has earned a Master of Public Policy degree from the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard and MSW and PhD degrees in Sociology and Social Work from the University of Michigan. We are very honored and excited to have Dean Warner here with us in the studio. Welcome.
Well, good morning, Eric. Good morning, Alyssa. It's great to be here. I am so thrilled to have a chance to see this wonderful radio show in action.
Well, you don't seem busy at all after that bio. Thank you so much for having the time to come in here, I should say, because, what Eric all the work that you're doing right now is really amazing, and we're thrilled to have you here.
My pleasure, and I'm so excited to have a chance to talk a little bit more about all of the things that are happening on campus and at the School of Social Welfare, especially at this time of year as the students are coming back to class. New students have been welcomed, and there's so much enthusiasm about all of the activities that are going on at our school and all of the excitement that always comes along with the first part of the new year in the fall.
That's right. So we really wanted to have you on the show to talk about your role at the School of Social Welfare, but also about your own sort of identity as a social worker and your history with the social work profession. And we're really interested in sort of your own journey into social work. What got you interested in social work as a profession originally, and then maybe a little bit about how you got into the world of academia.
So I'm glad we have a few minutes to talk about this, because it's not actually all that often that I have a chance to reflect on how I got to this point. I think that everyone's journey to social work and through social work is obviously unique. I have to say, when I was an undergraduate student, I had no idea that there was a thing called social work. And my interests were always really around social justice. I was concerned a lot about people who were poor. I had a lot of friends who were kind of caught up in the criminal justice system and didn't really know how I could help them other than being a good friend. And so I actually thought for a long time that I wanted to go to law school, because when I thought about justice and what the world has to offer in terms of implementing programs that help us have a more socially just society, that was the direction I thought I wanted to go. And the more I experienced different jobs, learned about different things. I worked in a district attorney's office as an intern. After college, I was set on going to law school, but I didn't want to go right away, so I went to work at a law firm in New York City. And while I have a lot of respect for attorneys, I felt that what they were helping people with, if they were helping people and not sending them to jail as prosecutors, they were kind of on the back end of helping. It was too late. It was sort of at the time that people had already gotten into trouble. The systems that should have helped them earlier had failed them. Their schools had failed them. Whatever their needs were, education, social, recreation, all of those things that many of us take for granted really hadn't served them well, and it was too problematic by the time they were connected with the justice system.
Right.
So once I kind of checked off the law school box from I don't want to do that, I thought I would pursue a research career. And so as you heard from my bio, I'm really passionate about education and the role of education in my own life as helping me figure out how I can best contribute. So I decided that pursuing a degree in public policy would kind of help satisfy this need I had to try to do something, like use whatever talents I had to change policies and practices to help those systems do a better job to support people. After I earned my public policy degree, I did research in areas of gang prevention, and I was really fortunate to work on a study of homicides and what was contributing to the increase in homicide rates around the U.S. And I traveled around the country to collect data, and I went to the biggest cities in the U.S. and really saw again how important the structure and the context around people's lives, how that really shapes their opportunities. So sort of fast forward a little bit, I found my way at Michigan and was involved in research there on self-help groups for people who have manic depression and depression. The theory was that if they could be connected to a peer support group, that it would help them not be hospitalized, prevent suicide, etc. And through that project, I became very connected to faculty members at the School of Social Welfare and decided, I think I've finally found my place, which was, excuse me, a place where I could connect the research and the teaching and the practice in a way that I think very few academics are able to do. Because of the field of social work academics are really in a really wonderfully unique position to kind of try to tap into the different dimensions of what it might be to make change.
Interesting. Wow, that's quite a journey. Thank you for sharing that with us. If you think about social work education a bit, and our listenership here at the show is sometimes social workers, but also students on campus. And so if we think about undergraduate students who maybe don't know about social work and what social work education is really about, since the School of Social Welfare is on the downtown campus as opposed to the uptown main campus, if you were to sort of talk to a group of potential social work students and tell them what social work education is about and how it might impact them and change their lives, what would you say?
I would say that there probably isn't a better choice of course of study for someone who is interested in having a career that is meaningful and that provides a way to really allow you to tap into the pieces of yourself that are most excited about why you get up in the morning and why you connect with other people. It allows you to take those motivations and bring those into whatever your work might be. Now, that sounds a little bit general, and I think if we bring that back into what it means to be in classes with other people who are trying to learn about what are the reasons that people and systems work the way they work, and if you have that information, then you can help figure out how can we make things better? How could we make a program work better or a policy work better? Or what could we do to support a family so that they can satisfy their goals and aspirations? If you have that knowledge and that understanding, and you have a chance to actually practice that in organizations, in settings where our students have to have that kind of experience. That's our core curriculum. We call it the signature pedagogy of social work is actually the classroom experiences that people have in agencies. And so for people who don't want to only learn by sitting and listening and talking, but want to learn by doing, social work is the best path.
Yeah.
And we also have a new this year is our minor. That's something that our classes used to be closed, where students, if they wanted to learn a little bit about social work, even if they knew they wanted to, maybe they did want to do law or something else, they were never really able to take those social work classes and learn really about the connection and how policy is created or is connected to the micro type work that we do. And that's something that's new this year.
I am really excited to see how many students take advantage of the minor. I think it's really a wonderful opportunity, as you both have said, to introduce people to the idea of social work. I think I'm probably not all that atypical in what I said of, like, I didn't really know social work was a field, an area that I could study. I didn't know that until I was out of college, and so I think it's really important for us as a school to make those opportunities known much more to students. And so having a minor, having an ability to maybe bring students more often to the downtown campus. That's where we're housed. That's where we have most of our classes. I think that would be really exciting. So if you're listening and you ever want to come to the downtown campus and stop by Richardson Hall and learn more about social work and social welfare, this is your open invitation.
You are always welcome at the School of Social Welfare. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the role of community engagement? So social work, and particularly the School of Social Welfare here at the University at Albany, has a long-standing commitment to community engagement, meaning the engagement of the university and particularly the School of Social Welfare with its external community. And maybe could you talk a little bit about how you see that role at the school?
Absolutely. So there are at least 3 different ways that the school has a really unique way of implementing a community-engaged agenda. And as I was talking about what social work education is, a key component of social work education is students in placements in organizations in the community doing classwork in the community. So field-based education. For us to have a program, we have to have relationships with the agencies that take our students, that work with our students. And so in the Capital Region, almost any nonprofit, for-profit healthcare delivery organization that you can think of is a place where it's likely that we either have a relationship because we do place students, or we're trying to cultivate one so that we can place students there to learn. So examples might be Albany County Mental Health, Parsons Family Services, United Tenants Organization. So any of the organizations that are providing social services, providing healthcare, mental health services, are our partners because they help us deliver our curriculum. So that, I think, is a unique way of community engagement that the school is just so privileged to be able to have that strong connection. I think another way that that the school is really committed to community engagement and lives community engagement is through the research of the faculty members. So many of our faculty members, you yourself, Eric, are conducting research with organizations in the community. And because of the interest that our faculty have in engaging in research that actually is going to make a positive change with individuals, organizations, and policymakers, the research itself is community engaged, and our faculty, almost by definition of being faculty members in a school of social welfare and social work, are community engaged members.
Great. So if you've just tuned in, you're listening to The Social Workers, and we're talking live here in the studio at WCDB with Dr. Lynn Warner, who's professor and dean of the School of Social Welfare here at the University at Albany.
And as you just told us about your journey and some ways that the school is connected to community, but what are also some exciting things that are happening and the future directions of the school?
We are always, as a vibrant member of the community, we are always trying to find ways that we can help advance local agendas around addressing poverty, addressing inequity, improving social supports for students in schools. So some of the things that we are looking forward to this year in particular have to do with having more opportunities for forums to bring members of the people who are working in the local agencies, who might be the field instructors for our students, but are also other people who are working there, to help us keep informed in a much more immediate way about how we can do a better job to provide training for our students. So it's this reciprocal relationship that we rely on to provide the best education that we can, and to keep us, in order for us to do that, I think having many more opportunities for these kinds of open forums of engagement at the school and outside the community, if they'd like to have us, so that we can do a better job of preparing the social workers for the future. Because things are, when I say things, the world is changing so rapidly, and there are really so many pressures on the profession to attend to some of the really critical challenges around kind of the dissolution of civic responsibility, the tensions that are emerging around far left, far right tensions are really impacting our communities in very serious ways, and we need to be able to prepare our students to work effectively in this changing environment. And so as we try to do that, we will be having many more opportunities for really some deep conversation around how to do that.
It's an ever-changing profession, just as society is changing, and we're dealing with, sort of the fluidity of all of these topics, and certainly rising tensions, as you put it, but also increased opportunities. And one of the things I like to think about is, what are the opportunities that the social work profession has ahead of it to really make a difference in society? not that we haven't made a difference in the past, but are there new and creative and innovative ways that social work can respond to some of the public challenges that you identified?
Yeah, I absolutely. And I think that because some of these challenges are really not new to the profession of social work, we are much better able to kind of jump into those conversations in a way that is productive and helps things move forward. One small example might be as the healthcare world is changing, for example, and the inspiration or the impetus for containing costs, but also trying to make sure quality care is delivered. This is not something atypical to any industry, right? Every industry, every service sector wants to provide quality services, but it's challenging with economic realities to do that. The roles that social workers can play in terms of helping identify where integrated services might be appropriate and brokering those roles, for example, identifying when people with different perspectives need to come together to work together to solve a problem. Social workers are uniquely trained and able to help identify sort of value clarification conversations that help those that help move problem solving forward. So in its sort of problem solving orientation, social workers are the ultimate optimists, right? Here's a problem, we can solve it, and we have some skills that can really help us all solve those problems and do it in a way that ultimately is grounded in the social work values of dignity of all individuals.
Yeah. And the idea of social workers and us trying to train future social workers to be change agents. We've talked at the school about the idea of becoming the change and of students really learning to be social workers who don't just go into the profession to help others, but they actually go to become an agent of change and to make a radical difference in the world, if you will. So
absolutely.
No, this is a really great segment. I'm so glad you could come on today. I know you have a very busy schedule. Is there anything you'd like to leave with us? I know we're wrapping up here. Is there any message or something about social work, about the school that you'd like people to leave with today? Lots of pressure.
I would love people to remember that there is a School of Social Welfare at the University at Albany that is leading the way in our community for social change. And if they would like to join us in that, we would love to have them.
That's a wonderful message. Thank you. You've been listening to WCDB Albany, the Social Workers Live Radio Talk Show. Thanks for listening. We look forward to talking to you again.
Sounds great.
WCDB Albany.
You're listening to The Social Workers on WCDB Albany.